Hi students. So let us learn the topic of computer network and security using cryptography. So we have already learnt about the subject from earlier sections in our syllabus. So what do you mean by cryptographical network system? How do we secure the files? How do we make a communication? Everything we had learnt in our previous sections, like there are symmetric, asymmetric kind of propagation, but now we are learning a new topic. The topic is how to secure application layer. See, in our previous topics, so sender was creating a message, he was doing an encryption process, he was sending it to the receiver, where encryption was done on sender system, decryption was done on receiver system. Everything was a manual there. Receiver used to receive the file, then he used to make a decryption process based on a secret key which is being shared among the sender and receiver. Everything was happening in our previous section, like in our normal very secure systems. But now we are learning a very different kind of system which is being used for communication. What is that communication process? It is been well defined that everybody are using a Gmail. You know what? How do we use a Gmail? Do you do any encryption, decryption over there? We don't do anything because we are the users. We just compose the mail, we just send it to the receiver. But it has to be secured. Is it not? How do we secure a system over there? We need to secure a system not by manual process. Everything has to be done in a automatic algorithmic process. So for that, one important topic we have to learn. What is that? Security. On which layer? A layer called as application layer. So first, before that, we need to learn what do you mean by this application layer and other layers. See, when we have a communication to be accepted or to be propagated from sender to receiver, we need to depend upon some protocols. We have like OSI models we have, and very importantly we have a TCP/IP protocol. The same TCP/IP protocol we are going to use it in our email also. So TCP, transport layer protocol, and internet protocol, both will be mixed together and it is being used. So there are 4 sections over there. First is application layer. What do you mean by application layer? The view. Whatever the user who is able to view the system. Suppose you are using a Gmail, you are going to use a authentication username, password you will be giving. So once you enter a username and password, one window will be opened where you can see compose, inbox, sent items, all those things you are able to see. So that particular layer is called as application layer. It is a very important because we need to provide our system security in this application layer as well. This is also very important. For this, you might have experienced while typing the email, characters will be visible, but while typing a password, characters are not visible. Maybe it will be in dots, it will be in stars. So that is what? Safeguarding the application layer. Then after application, we'll be learning about transport layer, how to secure transport layer, how to secure network layer, and how to secure complete internet. But in this section, we are just learning how do we secure the application layer. So for this, we have some technique, or else we need to follow some architecture. What is that architecture? See, just observe here, I have written one diagram over here. So with this, there are some abbreviations which is needed to be learned. What are those abbreviations? See, first thing is UA. What do you mean by UA? User agent. And at the sender end, there will be a server called as MTA. What do you mean by MTA? Message transfer agent. If I want to transfer the message, I need to use one server. That server name is transfer agent. Suppose I am the receiver, I should not use MTA, I need to use a server which has been embedded called as MAA. What do you mean by MAA? Message access agent. Like this, we have a several set of components which has been mixed with the architecture. That entire architecture is known as what? Email architecture. Now, how do we learn this? How do we understand the message as a email architecture? First, sender creates a message. Sender will create a message using an agent called as user agent. Okay, he is going to create a message using user agent. So this will be the view. This will be the view of an email. So using user agent, he is going to create a message. Once he creates a message, he is connecting to his own server. I can call this as a local server also, because each and every system will have its own server built in it. Okay, so like when you are developing some JSP PHP products, you might be having a Tomcat server as a local server. Likewise, I have a server name. What is the name of the server? MTA server. Once the message is sent, first MTA server will hold that message. It will not propagate directly. Once it is stored, it is being sent to the client. There are two components, MTA server and client. So first MTA server will hold a message, then it will be stored onto its own memory, then it will move on to the MTA client. So after sending it to the client, then it is getting connected to the internet. So one example I'll tell you, just a general example. You are going to create a message and you are going to compose a thing and you are going to send the message by attaching or just by typing the message, whatever it be. So once you are typing the message, once you are sending the message, directly the message will not directly go to the receiver. First it moves to the outbox. Okay, how we have inbox, likewise we have outbox. That message will store onto the outbox, then that message is getting stored onto the sent items. You might have observed those things in our Gmail architecture. So likewise we have outbox, namely called as MTA server. For that it is having its own data as a memory location. Once it is stored, everything just like a queue or stack, okay, just like a data structure, all the information will be keep on storing. After storing here, it is going to transmit to the MTA client. So I think it is not visible. So it is MTA server, it is MTA client. Understood? Once client has been received the message, it is just pushing it onto the internet. Then internet will carry the message, but internet will carry the safe message. It is not a open source. Here it will be the secured message. The what is that? Internet is getting carried. So the sender system is carried with the internet. Then while reaching the receiver, at first MAA will come into existence, come into picture. MAA will receive the message. That MAA abbreviation is message access agent. So that MAA will receive the message, then it is going to store it onto some database. Then whenever it is being stored, then only it is getting access, means the access is getting for a MAA client. First server will come into picture, then only the client will be the what is that? It will be on a main list. So that MAA client will accept a message, then it will be enabled for the receiver. How it is? I am sending you the message. Once you receive a message, you will not come to know whether a message has come or not. First it will reach on to the server. From server it will be pushing on to the another message, what is that, a memory called as inbox. We all have an inbox, but previous to that there is a background server, there is a background memory called as server. First it reaches there, then only it will be propagated to the client thing. So that is the architecture which we are going to make it in our email architecture. It works in all the internet messaging or communication technique. Okay, so whenever you are using a WhatsApp, so WhatsApp also has its own server. Maybe in your mobile there will be a local server where RAM will be used as a server over there, and there will be a global server. So whenever the message has reached your phone, first server will come into picture, then only the main memory will be accepted with the application. So that is why we are going to use the email architecture. It is very, very important. Then coming to the email security, we have some security things. See, once we are learning the email security, first and foremost thing we are going to keep in our mind is email doesn't concern about sessions. What do you mean by session? Session means there will be some time limits. See, in our earlier sections we had come to know that once the message is created, whenever it is sent, there will be a message timing like session key. We will be using a session key for a timestamp. So when we use a timestamp, so there will be a fixed time for the message. After that time is elapsed, that message will be deleted. That session key we cannot provide to the email architecture as a basic. Okay, as a basic level there won't be any session key. So that by considering that, we have three sections of security things. Means security can be provided at three levels. At first, the first thing we need to use is what? Algorithm. What kind of algorithm it is? It is a automatic algorithm where encryption decryption will be done at background level, not at the foreground level. So cryptographic algorithm has to be used. How the cryptographic algorithms are used? Based on user IDs. Maybe for email ID will be the ID. Maybe for a message there will be a SMS ID. Likewise everything there will be ID. Based on the particular that ID, algorithm is designed, where algorithm has to be maintained with the IDs itself, because ID will act as what? Primary keys. You have learnt in our DBMS as well. ID always should be unique one. Based on that uniqueness, we are going to design a cryptographic algorithm on what? Email architecture. Next, cryptographic secrets. How to make a cryptographic secrets? Secret is maintained based on a key. But we have learned that asymmetric nature is very important. Asymmetric key is it is been made as a very effective manner. But our email architecture cannot use asymmetric. It has to be used with what? Symmetric key algorithm. What do you mean by symmetric key? Sender will create a message, receiver will receive a message. Both sender and receiver are using a cryptographic algorithm based on a same key, where sender encrypts a message with one key, receiver decrypts the message with another key, but that key, both the keys should be what? Same. That particular kind of algorithm is called as what? Symmetric key kind of algorithm. So every email architecture which is using cryptography has to use what kind of key? Symmetric key itself. Next, coming to the certificates. It is what is that? Earlier it was not so mandatory. But whenever the thing has been changed, as the evolution began, certificate plays a major role. So now why we need a certificate? We need a certificate for confirmation. That is the only thing. You will get a degree. What is the confirmation that you are getting a degree? That certificate speaks a lot, because if you tell anything orally, nobody will trust you. So once you show the authenticated certificate, then the degree will be accepted. Same way, if my communication, if I want to say my communication is very safe, then I cannot tell in my own words. It has to be shown with proof. That proof will be taken as what? Certificate. So email architecture uses what kind of certificate? X509 standard certificate for its communication process. So this is how security of application can be provided. For that, where we need to lie on, we need to depend upon email architecture. And very importantly, we have another kind of protocol. What is this protocol? That protocol name is PGP. What do you mean by PGP? Pretty good privacy. Just for an additional thing as email architecture, we are going to add some other algorithm just to protect the entire system in a very hi-fi manner. Means the complete system will be what? Highly protected when we use PGP as a protocol. What is the abbreviation? Just now I told, pretty good privacy. The name itself, it is telling it is not so complicated. Just like our asymmetric key, it is not a complicated. It is a simple kind of protocol, but it provides a security in a pretty good manner. So what is this pretty good privacy? Once we have discussed, session keys are not used in our email, but PGP allows to use a session key in between sender and receiver. How it is being used? Sender will create a message. He will encrypt a message. Maybe it is done in background itself. Then also encryption is done it on sender system itself. Once the sender creates a message, he is going to add session key also. The session key can be number, session key can be characters as well. Once both the things are done, okay, the message is secured with encryption, it is secured with hash, it is being secured with digital signature, everything will be added. But with that, I am going to add attach. Actually, we are going to attach session key also. That session key I am going to encrypt not by sender's secret key. We are going to make a alteration based on receiver's public key. Here sender's public key will not come into picture. Receiver's public key will be taken it as a secret key over there. Through public key of a receiver, session key will be encrypted. Then this session key and the message both will be attached and it is been sent to the receiver. So that's why I have written here PGP uses what kind of key? Especially PGP uses a session key. Then once the receiver receives the message, what will be the first and foremost thing he will be doing? So receiver will receive a message. As soon as the message is received, session key need to be decrypted. How he will decrypt the message? He is going to decrypt it by using sender's public key. So here private key won't come into picture for a session key. So that here the message is getting decrypted with sender's public key. Sender will encrypt the message with receiver's public key. That is the only thing. The mutual exchange thing will be happening in between each other. So session key is used in PGP. So this is the explanation. Once again I'll tell you. Message is created by the sender. He is going to encrypt the message. He is going to encrypt everything using his own private key. But session key is being used to encrypt by using receiver's public key. Then receiver will receive a message. He is going to decrypt the message by using whose public key? Sender's public key. That process is called as session key propagation on PGP protocol. Then, and very important thing based on a PGP is when we use the PGP. So there will be a allocation. Means there is an option for sending the message from one sender to multiple receivers. So can you attach more and more users for the email? Yes, of course it is possible. I can send to 100 peoples. I can send to 1000 peoples. Then I require how many kind of keys? I require thousands. Means n number of session keys. For that we require one kind of a ring. That ring is called as key ring. So this PGP holds a key ring where multiple keys are there. So that will be embedded onto the ring. So whatever the user, if the user is added right now, we can allocate one key to the receiver. How it is? See, we have a hostel. So let me just take an example, general kind of example. So hostel, there will be 100 rooms. Let us suppose as an example. So there will be a numbering for the door numbers 1 to 100. Then just for a matching, the hostel warden. So he'll be keeping some kind of a key ring. So with that ring, so each and every key will have its own number. First number 1 key is for room number 1. Key number 2 is for room number 2. Likewise, 100th room will have the number called as 100 for a key. So likewise, we have a key ring which is being used in our PGP. So this will be used just to safeguard the system in a very well efficient manner. So this will be the application layer security. Thank you.